do I? No. He's so handsome with his beard, and I'm just getting it back. Functions, day 2, all right? Here's what we're gonna do. I'm gonna show you a screen first that I don't want you to copy down, all right? We're just gonna stay here with me today. We're not gonna do any other extra videos, all right? Whoa, ooh, that was a little scary. All right, yeah, that'll do. Okay, so don't copy this down, all right? Get the right color. And I'm gonna just talk real quick about functions to remind you about the input, the output, the domain, the range, the X and the Y, all right? I'm gonna use a real life example of York peppermint patties. You know those little mints, the chocolate with the mint in the middle? You get them at the front of a restaurant or whatever, and they usually cost like 50 cents, all right? So that's a function. You use functions every day. Every time you spend money, you use functions. Because if you input $1 into that cashier's hand, she's gonna output 2 York peppermint patties to you because they're 50 cents each. If you input $1, X, she's gonna output 2 candies to you, F of X, all right? So you input money, you output candy. Well, they output candy, all right? So you're gonna input money, output candy. You input $2, you're gonna get 4 candies. You input $5, you're gonna get 10 candies. You input $175, you're gonna get 350 candies. It's a simple input-output. There's a domain. These are the possible inputs of dollars. There's a range. These are the outputs of candies. You do it every day, all right? I mean, maybe not every day, but anytime you spend money, that's an input-output. You spend a certain amount of money, you get a certain amount of stuff. Now let's come over here real quick and just math it up a little bit, all right? And this is really important because we're gonna start using this language a lot right here where it says F1 equal to. And we're not gonna say F1. We read it like this. This sentence is super important. I'm not expecting you to write this down. This is F of 1 equals 2. That's how we're gonna read this. So you're gonna hear me say that all the time. It doesn't mean F times 1, it means F of 1. What it means is how much candy do you get for $1? This relates to this chart, F of 1 equals 2, because you get 2 candies for $1. All this is a mathy way to say this part of the chart. So we're gonna come down here and answer some quick questions. What is F of 5? F of 5 is 10, because for $5, I get 10 candies. Tricksy question, what is F of 10? It's not on the chart, actually. Now, your eyes immediately went here, but that's in the wrong spot of the chart. F of 10 means how much candy do I get if I input $10? If I input $10, it's not on the chart. Let's add it real quick, all right? So if I add it real quick and put a 10 right there, probably you figured out the rule already, it's 20, right? Because it's just double. So come over here and 20. And then F of 25 in the same way is 50. I'm not even gonna add that to the chart. So this is a real life example, York peppermint patties, spending money, all right? And what we're gonna do, all right, there we go. We'll make sure we get the whole thing. Okay, let's do it. So, it's gonna be 2 types of questions today. One of which is gonna deal with a chart, and the other one of which is gonna deal with an equation. Let's take the chart first, all right? Here's a simple input-output chart. What you'll notice immediately is there's no rule. It doesn't make any sense. It's not like $3 buys you 8 somethings, but $7 will buy you 5 somethings. That's not realistic. And then all of a sudden $11 buys you 100 somethings. It makes no sense, all right? They don't have to make sense. It still has a domain and a range, an input and an output. First thing we're gonna do when we get our chart is we're gonna list the domain. Remember, those are the numbers of the X input column. We put commas between them, 3, 7, and 11. And then we're gonna list the range. The range is the numbers in the output column, or what would be called the Y column if we were on a coordinate plane. Remember, they gotta be in order. So I'm not gonna write 8, 5, 100. I'm gonna write 5, 8, 100. So we have a domain and a range. We have an X and an F of X, all right? X and a Y. And now we're gonna read the chart, just like we did over there with the Yorks. And I'm gonna say, what is F of 7? F of 7 is 5. It's just a simple matter of reading the chart. F of 7 is 5. Because I go to 7 on the input, I input 7 and I get back 5. Whatever it is we're talking about. We were talking about money over here, money in York peppermint patties. It's the same concept here, it's just we don't have an actual story. I'm gonna input 7, what do I get out? 5. All right, now, they can ask this question backwards also. This is how they ask it. For what value of F for what value of x is f of x equal to 100? What they're saying is, what input gives me an output of 100? Well, that's just reading the chart backwards, and it's 11. All right? So 4 simple questions: domain, range, f of 7 equals something, and then for what value of x is f of x something. Real quick, I could say, is this a function? It is a function because the x doesn't repeat. The domain doesn't repeat. So you can do some questions like that. No big deal. Let's come over here, all right, to questions where it's going to get just a tiny bit more complicated because we're going to start talking about equations, all right? And they're going to say complete the function table, and there's going to be a table, and it's not going to be finished. You're going to have to finish it. And they're going to give you an equation. So we've got some inputs. We have to get the outputs. We've got the domain. We have to find the range. What do I mean by that? I'm going to take 3, and I'm going to input it into this function. This is how you want to write this down, all right? So I'm going to do, I don't want to draw arrows. I don't want to clumsy it up. I'm just going to write f of 3 equals 2 times 3 plus 1. What did I do? I inputted 3 into this function. Everywhere there was a 3, I replaced it. Everywhere there was an x, I replaced it with a 3. So I put a 3 there, and I put a 3 there. All right? And now, I don't have to write anything more there. I'm looking for f of 3. What is f of 3? And I'm going to come over here. I'm going to do a little bit of math. Remember, we multiply before we add. So 2 times 3 is 6. And then 6 plus 1 is 7. So f of 3 equals 7. So f of 3 equals 7. F of 3 equals 7. That's what you're going to be doing today, doing some substituting. Now, I'm going to go ahead and just real fast do the rest of these without writing them all down. If I put 8 in right here, 2 times 8 would be 16, plus 1 would be 17. Some of these you'll be able to do in your head, some you won't. Put 10 in, 2 times 10 is 20, plus 1 is 21. And then last but not least, put 50 in. 2 times 50 is 100, plus 1 is 101. All right? But again, all those numbers on the output, they came from me doing math. All right? They came from me doing math. All right? So, not bad. It's not bad today. It didn't get bad. All right? We have a column, domain, range, input, output. We do some reading. We have a column of input. We have to find our own output this time by doing a little bit of math. So we're going to be reading tables, and then we're going to be mathing tables up. And that is today. All right? So remember, last thing I'm going to say, remember, every input-output could be connected to some story like the York Peppermint Patties, all right? Do not think that this is coming out of nowhere. Every time money gets spent, that is a function. You spend money, you get back something, all right? You spend money, you get back something. Sometimes you spend a lot of money to get back one little thing, like a new phone. Sometimes you spend a little bit of money and you get a lot of things. I was looking up Airheads, and you can, for like $10, you can buy 200 Airheads or something like that. Didn't seem like a good example, but we could. So, but every time you spend money, you get back something. That's a function, right? So think about that here too. We input 7, we get back 5. We input 11, we get back 100. We input 8 on this function, we get back 17. We input 50, we get back 101. That's it. Okay, y'all. Do the work.